Welcome back to the channel. My name is Steven. I'm a pharmacist. I own 52 units of real estate, apartments, and single family homes. I built up a $6 million net worth and I cash flowed net $10,000 a month. So today I want to talk about a comment that I received, and that was a great question. It's an early pharmacy school student. I graduated pharmacy school 11 years ago, and the student was inspired by the journey and had a few questions for me. So what area do I work in? So I've worked in the hospital, inpatient pharmacy my entire career. I started off in 2013 in a hospital, and in 2017 I transitioned to a pharmacy director, pharmacy manager role within a hospital. So I've always been in the hospital my entire career. Why I like hospital is because it gives you more opportunity versus working at retail, like CVS, Walgreens is your typical big ones, and it's a lot more clinical, so it's better long term for your career if that's the route you want to go. But I have a lot of classmates who are completely fine, completely content working in retail like CVS and Walgreens. So to each your own, right? I would recommend try both and see what you like, but for me personally, I feel like long term working in the hospital is better. And the question that I really wanted to dive into was, how did I make time to start my business outside of work while also pursuing my master's in public health? So the way I answer that is, from 2013 to 2017, I didn't really think about business. I didn't really think about anything else. I just was focused on paying off my $250,000 of student debt. I was focused on becoming a pharmacist. I was focused on making income, and I just wanted to learn how to do some basic investment. So at the time, from 2013 to 2017, it was just like 401k and index funds. So I have videos talking about it, but when I first started buying stocks, I thought I was investing, but I was just speculating. I was reading articles, journals, and they're recommending individual stocks, and I would buy them. And I remember I bought GoPro when it first came IPO and thought I would do well, and ended up losing $2,000 on it. I bought a 3D company printer that I thought would do well, lost money on it. I bought some random, stock in China, and it didn't do well. And after that, I just said, you know what? I read these articles. I thought they were trustworthy people. I ended up losing money on it. I said, forget it. I'm just going to buy the S&P 500 stocks, which was the start of my whole index investment strategy, right? Because I didn't want to do the research. And even if you do the research, you're not guaranteed anything. I'd rather just make it super passive every month, dollar cost average, buy that. So literally 2013, 2017 was focused on my job, was focused on paying off my student debt, and I was focused on just very basic index fund investing. And from 2015 to 2017, that's when I actually started my master's in public health degree through UC Berkeley. It's an online program, so I was working full time. And if I had downtime at work, after work, I would just study for my class. And why I was able to juggle both was because honestly, getting the PharmD, the doctorate in pharmacy, was a lot harder than getting the master's in public health. So I didn't need to study as much. The courses were easy, and I can do it on my downtime. So I didn't need to study as much, and I think I literally pulled a 4.0 GPA through UC Berkeley in my Master's in Public Health program without really studying that hard relative to pharmacy school. So more of the story, if you can get through a graduate level doctorate program, most likely the master's program is gonna be a lot easier, as it was for me. So I didn't think it was too much of a time commitment, to be honest. It was just like, if I had downtime at work, I would read some modules, do some assignments, which was mostly posting on forums. So it was pretty easy. So for me, when I really started getting into business was 2017, and I didn't even know that. In 2017, I bought my first single family home after paying off my student debt, my $250,000 student debt. I maxed out my 401k for about 4 years, and I was able to save up a lot of money because I lived very frugally. That's the key to any success, is you have to, spend less than you make. It's hard, right? Like people say, oh, I can never save, but they spend so lavishly, and you have to know your margin. You have to know how much you make. You have to know how much you spend, and you have to have some leftover that you can invest, right? Whether it's investing in education to improve yourself, whether it's investing in a 401k, whether that's investing in index funds, whether it's investing in real estate. That's how you make money in your sleep, and it starts to compound, as I'm seeing, 11 years later after been doing this since 2013. So in 2017, I bought my first house hack, which was the start of my real estate business. And I didn't even know it was a business at the time. But I lived in the master bedroom. I'd rent out the 3 other bedrooms. I got $3,000 a month, $1,000 each room. And I would basically take that money and then use it to pay my mortgage. And whatever money I was making through my W-2, I think at the time I became a pharmacy director at 27 years old for my first job. And I basically saved a lot more money because I made more money. My expenses went lower because I was house hacking, and I didn't really increase my lifestyle. I didn't lifestyle inflate. So I was able to save more money. And then I bought my second single family home house hack. Rinse and repeat. Put 10% down. I have whole videos talking about house hacking. I have whole videos talking about my real estate journey, so check that out. But I just repeat the process. I made more money, I lowered my expenses, saved more money. Once you save more money, you can then invest that money. So I bought my second house hack, and I did the same thing. I rented out the rooms, and from there, once again, I got another pharmacy director job, and it paid me more, and I didn't spend more. So I made more. I didn't spend more, so I saved more. I can invest more. And I repeat that over and over again, right? It's so simple, right? The keys to success, the keys to wealth is a lot simpler than you think. Just like working out or getting buff. If you want to get buff, you just move around, work out more days than not, eat clean, cleaner, and that's it. Right, calories in, calories out. Like if you really simplify it, you just do that, you'll get in better shape. So, and same with like building wealth. Literally, you focus on increasing your income, keep your expense low. Whatever money you have left over, you save to have an emergency fund. Whatever you have above that, you start to invest so that your money starts making money for you. That's literally it. And how you choose to invest your money, 401k. Index funds, real estate, investing in a business. I do all the above, right? But anyways, from 2017 all the way to probably 2021, I just was house hacking single family homes once every year and a half, roughly. And in 2021 is when it started to really exponentially grow, because during 2021, COVID happened. No one would have known that happened. I didn't know. Interest rates dropped significantly. And when interest rates dropped, people started overpaying for real estate because they can afford to. So what did it do for me? Because I owned real estate, it just increased the value up. I didn't know at the time, right? I didn't know. I just bought it and held it for the long term. And because the values went up so much, interest rates went down, I was able to do cash out refinances. I was able to lower my interest rate and pull out some money to use that to go buy my apartment complexes, right? I used that to buy my mobile home park. I used it to buy my 26-unit apartment complex in Oklahoma. I used it to buy my 20-unit apartment complex in Oklahoma. So I did 2 major things. I pulled out money due to the compounding equity, and I was only able to pull out the money because I had a high-income W-2, right? So the value of a high-income W-2 is underrated. And I know a lot of people give me flack saying, it only works for a high-income W-2. Well, that's within your control, right? Like, you can find a way to make more money in your W-2. For me, I moved up into management. Not many people wanted to move up into management, but I was willing to do it because I knew it paid me more. I knew it would open more doors. I knew I'd get a bonus. I knew it would improve my skill set. So to me, that's just a limiting belief. Like, find a way to increase your W-2, whether that's moving up, whether that's getting more education to get a better W-2. That's fully within your control, right? So that's the foundation. Because I will tell you, for 95% of the world, business is not for them. It's harder. It's not guaranteed. So if that's the case, if 95% of you are stuck with a W-2, then learn to optimize your W-2. How can you make more money in your W-2? How can you better yourself to get that promotion? How can you better yourself to get more skill set? So it's really up to you, right? In my mind, at least, that's my mentality. So which is why I moved up. And, once I moved up in 2021, I was really focused on moving up in my healthcare career. I wanted to be like a CEO of a hospital. But once I got laid off during COVID, I was just like, oh my God, like I have a video talking about it, but it shattered my identity. I was like, wow, I was a W-2 worker. And the moment I got laid off, I realized that I needed to diversify my investments. I needed to have additional streams of income. And I already owned like, 3 or 4 single family homes at the time, but in California, you break even, you cash flow a little bit, but for the most part, you're breaking even. It's not going to pay the bills, or at least your bills, your personal expenses. So I just said, okay, well, I need to pivot. And that's when I went into multifamily apartment complexes out of state. Why did I do that? I wanted more units, more cash flow. I wanted to go out of state because it's cheaper than California. I couldn't afford an apartment complex in California. So I wanted to buy apartments that were about under $1 million. And the market that I stumbled across was Oklahoma. And that's when in 2021, I bought my 26 unit in August. I bought my mobile home park in November of 2021, and I bought my 20 unit in May of 2022. So that's when I started to massively scale. And this all started because I focused on increasing my income, keeping my expenses the same, taking the leftover and investing it, right? I didn't spend that money on nice vacations. I didn't spend that money on eating out fancy. I didn't spend it on frivolous things. I just invested it and lived the same. So, now comes the question is, well, how do I balance my pharmacist job with my business, with my real estate portfolio? I had 90 units at one point. I was doing massive renovations on my 20 unit, my 26 unit, my mobile home park. I finished renovating all of those. I ended up selling my mobile home park for a loss. Have videos talking about all that. Just search my channel. But how do I juggle that is really leverage. So over time, you're going to get better at your job. Like at this point in my job, I do job hop a lot, but once you've been in a job for 6 months, 12 months, it starts to become autopilot. So once you go on autopilot, you don't require as much time and energy to do your job. And I've been a pharmacist for 13 or 11 years. I've been a pharmacy leader for about 7 years. So it gets easier over time. It's a lot of things don't really innovate for the most part. Things are pretty consistent. So my job doesn't require too much time and energy. Real estate, same thing. Like initially in 2021, when I first went into apartments, it was a huge learning curve, right? When I bought my mobile home park, it was a huge learning curve. But now that I've done it, I know what to expect. It's getting easier for me. So now, once you learn how to renovate one apartment unit, that's the hardest one. But once you've done one, copy and paste to 90 other units, it's the same thing. You know what to expect as long as you have the money and the expectations. So for me, it's just about getting that learning curve expedited. So for me, I ended up joining a real estate mentorship program, and it just expedited my learning curve, right? I could afford to spend on the mentorship and wanted to expedite my journey, and I did. I bought 90 units in like 5 years and 80 units in 8 months. So, for those who want to join a mentorship program in multifamily, check out the link down below. I do have a mentorship program. Obviously, it did well for me, but hopefully to share that with others to expedite their journey and learn from my mistakes. So it's what's valuable to you now is if it's time. If you have no money, then you get to allocate more time. If you have money, you can expedite your journey. So what's the trade-off you want to make? Up to you. For me, I had money, so I wanted to expedite my journey, which I did, right? So I own, 34 years old. I have a $6 million net worth and own 52 units of real estate now after selling my mobile home park. And I'm just waiting for interest rates to drop. And once it drops, I'm going to potentially do a cash out refinance and maybe buy more real estate or sell some real estate, pay off some real estate, right? So it gives you a lot of options. So for me, I would say like it's just all about time management, right? Like you just have to be efficient, and it's not fun. It's not fun to do that. I'll tell you, like you work a 9 to 5, right? But there's times before, so I wake up at 6 a.m. I'll show you my typical day. I wake up at 6 a.m. and I'm out the door by 7. So, I'm doing, journaling, stretching, eating breakfast, getting hydrated, setting myself up for the day. I basically at 7, I'll start doing my commute. I have an hour commute in Los Angeles, a lot of traffic. And, get to work around 8, leave work around 4:30, get home around like 5:30 to 6. And at that point, I'm trying to work out more consistently. And so I go to the gym. And then after that, if I have a couple hours, I will basically handle any real estate calls, real estate issues that I have, right? So whether it's talking to my property manager or my general contractor, and obviously I was touching base with them, maybe 3-4 times a week, maybe for about 15-20 minutes at a time. But now that all my units are stabilized and renovated completely, it's really passive. Like I probably spend about maybe 2 or 3 hours a month on my real estate now because it's pretty passive. Like at this point, I just text my property managers, or I might hop on a quick call once a month and just like, hey, how's it going? But they're stabilized. But when you're in the renovation phase and your stabilization phase, that's when it's the busiest. But like I said, I would, if I needed to, step out on my lunch break and talk to my property manager for about 20 minutes. And, or if I'm driving to work or going back from work because my properties are 3 hours ahead, time zone wise, I can call my property manager on my morning commute, right? So it's literally about utilizing every time you have. Yes, it's super disciplined and it's super boring, but that's what you have to do, what you have to be willing to sacrifice to build wealth, right? Like don't waste your time doing mindless things like surfing forums, and unless it's educating yourself. But if it's just like distracting yourself, I don't drink much alcohol. I don't really party that much. It just really is what you're prioritizing, what you're focused on. So for me, there's a way to do all the above, but you just have to stack it over time, right? Like I had to become a pharmacist first. I had to pay off my student debt first. I had to buy my single family home first. I had to study for my master's in public health. Became a pharmacy director. Had to learn how to do that. After that, learn how to buy multifamily real estate. After that, now I'm building my business, right? With social media, with coaching, with mentorship. And in the future, I'm looking to maybe become a real estate broker. So these skills stack over time. And you can only focus on one skill at a time. But if you focus on one skill in like 1 to 2 year increments, over 10 years, you'll develop 5 skills, like what I've done. So that's really my advice to you after this long-winded video. So thank you for staying the whole time. Anyways, hopefully you got value from this video. And once again, if you want to join the mentorship program, check out the link down below. I do offer a course in mentorship and coaching because I found value from that. Let me know if you have any questions, any comments. I'd love to answer your questions and hope to see you in the next one. Thank you so much.